Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. I am Lucid Fitzpatrick, and welcome to this little corner of the internet. Happy Friday to everyone. One of the things, I think we all love weekends, obviously. School's out, work's out for a lot of us, for most of us. And it used to be we have a lot of activities from movies to concerts to whatever on the weekend. But, at the very least, extra free time, hopefully time to, take care of ourselves a little bit, find something that we enjoy, find something that just, does, betters you, betters your life, whether it's health and fitness, whether it's sitting down and reading, maybe it's watching a movie or a television show, whatever. Hopefully, maybe it's reading a book. Which I will give you guys a recommendation a little bit if you don't have one that's on your plate right now. But one of the things that I love about Fridays is, and I've got a little bit of a routine of when I wake up in the morning, first thing that I will do is kind of scroll through all of the new music releases, since Friday is the new music release day. And today was no exception. I noticed a couple things that sparked my interest. I haven't been able to dig into them yet, but I saw that Lord Huron released a new single, and I've traditionally there are a few of his songs that are their songs that I've really enjoyed. Hi Am released a extended edition of their album Women in Music Part 3, which includes a collaboration with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is I'm not embarrassingly, but maybe just surprisingly surprised about, getting excited about music that she's associated with these days. Because traditionally, I have not been a very big Taylor Swift fan. I've not been someone who's, celebrated her music catalog until the last year or so, especially with the release of Folklore and Evermore, both albums, which I have very much enjoyed, very much loved over the past year or so. So I'm excited about those couple things and digging into those later. But what I want to talk about today, before as we get into it, is I want to talk about how personal the experience of music is, and how that's not really something that we can project or share, even among experiences where we're out with other people listening to music, or whether we're sharing music with people of similar taste. But before we get into that, we want to say that this episode is brought to you by Hymn for the Romanticist. Hymn for the Romanticist is by Lucid Fitzpatrick, and it is his literary love song to music. The story features what I consider the greatest depiction of music in all of literature. So if you love literature and you love music, which I presume since you're here, you should absolutely go onto Amazon and download it, where it's available for $1.99. And I promise you will not find a better value for your money. You will not find a better value for your time. So if you are looking for something to do this weekend, for yourself, that's enjoyable, you can go download it. You can read it on a Kindle device, on your iPhone or Android. And if you don't have any of those, you can certainly read it on the cloud reader on any PC or Mac. I will say that Hymn for the Romanticist pairs well with coffee. And with that, before we do anything, always coffee first. So you can, if you don't have coffee with you available, or if you're not a coffee drinker, but you want to share a sip, you can pause the video real quick, go brew something. I'll wait. So go hit pause. And if you come back, then you can raise your glass to me. Cheers. Or raise your glass with me, I should say. Cheers. And here's to a great weekend. All right, like I said, coffee is delicious. So, the personal experience of music. One of the things that I think is interesting, before you even talk about your experience of music, is how you go about discovering new music. And it's changed a lot. At least for me, it's changed a lot. And I'm not somebody who's traditionally gone in to listen to what is just popular and been promoted on radio. In my formative years, in my years in middle school and in high school in particular. And we're talking, I mean, this is going to age me a little bit, but this is back in a time where, we didn't have digital music. We didn't even have, CDRs where we could burn music to CD. So the mixtape was the way that music got passed around between my circle of friends who were also into, kind of more obscure band, mostly in kind of like the alternative space at the time, and in classical rock as well. And it would be, you'd have releases, and they're almost like albums where so and so who you trust, who's in your English class or whatever, they create a new mix and then they give it to you. You're really enjoying it, and then you make copy upon copy, and soon that propagates through the whole fabric of friends. And so the mixes that people put together, especially the ones that you trusted, really became, like I said, became like their own little kind of mini releases of, what is so and so discovered this week and what do they want to share. And I became a source of that for some of my friends as well. Some of the mixtapes that I used to put together for people were pretty well received and things like that. But even with that, even when you've got a group of friends, even when you have people who you think obviously you trust their musical judgment, they trust yours, and you have a pretty good sense of the taste that they have, it still wasn't uncommon for me to present music and to really find a song or find an album or find a band that I'm really connecting with, that I'm getting a profound experience from that. And for me, most of the time when I hear when I connect to a song like that, I will listen to it on repeat. Not uncommon to for thinking about old records, right? To burn a hole through the vinyl, right? I think that's the expression, or something along those lines. To listen to it so much that you actually damage and degrade the media that the music is stored on. And I would listen to them over and over and over again. And that was when I was a kid. I certainly did that. I'd listen to the same album or the same song just on repeat, nonstop, all the time. Whether it's on a tape deck or on a boombox or whatever, or however I'm listening to it, and I would just get obsessed with particular songs. And I would expect, right? And this isn't something that has stopped either. I mean, I mentioned Taylor Swift earlier. I think with her collaboration with Bon Iver on Folklore. I think it wouldn't be uncommon for me to listen to that song a dozen times in a row. I thought the duet was just that strong and was that powerful. So when I created mix and I found songs like that I connected with in that way, you put those things down and you're putting that out there, and to a degree, it feels like you're almost putting your soul out there, right? It's like you connected with this, you feel this energy, you have that emotional response to it. And when you put it down and you share it with someone, you are bearing your soul a little bit, saying that this is what I felt to it. And if, and you share it and you expect them to react, maybe not as quite as far, but at least to some degree, the way you felt. And what I really found, I think, many of you, it's even if you know someone and you understand that their musical taste, that it's still impossible to predict and to project your experience with a particular song for other people. And so it wasn't uncommon for me to create that, to put, that song, the songs that I really connected with, and say, here you go. This is, for that Garden State moment, right? Where Natalie Portman is having Zach Braff listen to the Shins, right? This song will change your life, kind of moments. That I found that just does not happen. You could share it and they can like it, and they may listen to it, but the really, really profound response is not something that you can project or you can force. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I think it's quite a good thing, and I think it's something that is unique and something that is very much a treasure because it's so personal. And I wanted to tell a story. This is back in my consulting days. So we're talking 10, 12 years ago. And I was traveling full time. I was 100% travel in my job. I was in Baltimore, and it was a Thursday because I traveled back on Thursday. I think anyone who's been in the consulting world, especially at that time, knows, Thursday is a big travel day for people who've been on site at a client location all week. And that day I came across a little bit lucky of a pre-release leak, if you will, of an album by a band that I very, very much enjoyed. And this is also, going back to, like, you can't predict how you respond. Sometimes I've been, there's a band that I really like traditionally, and there's some songs that I've really connected with, and you get very much excited about an upcoming release. And then when it finally lands and you start listening to it, it's just like, it's not quite the same as, as their previous release or the other stuff that you really connected with. So it's just so hard to, even when you go to someone where, their style and you've loved their music in the past, it's still hard just to predict when and where you make those connections. But this is the case where the connection was even stronger than the ones that I had before. So I downloaded the song during the day, and I didn't have a chance to listen to it, until I really got to the airport. It was a busy work day, had to rush to get over to the airport and get through security. So it wasn't until I got to the gate where I was able to put my earbuds in and just really sit down and really listen to it closely. And it was kind of a bizarre experience for me. When I first started playing it, there was an aspect of it where it was like a Mack truck or a train, just something that just knocked me down, literally knocked me down. I was leaning up against the wall, standing, because I didn't want to sit in any of the uncomfortable chairs at the airport. And I literally just collapsed on the floor next to my luggage, because the music that I was hearing, the melodies that were coming, the progression of melodies, the progression from song to song, the deep textures of the song, the way that they were constructed with, I don't want to get into it too much, but between the drums, the guitars, the lyrics, the melody of the singing in every single song that I heard in that album, it hit me hard and it knocked me down. But at the same time, that force that I was feeling almost made me feel weightless at the same time. So it knocked me down. I was hit to the floor, but at the same time, it almost felt like I had no body at that point. And I imagine anyone who was looking at me, I could probably have some kind of weird, whimsical, staring off into space kind of look across my face. And I was surrounded by people, right? There were people waiting for me at the flight. The airport was really busy because it's a busy business travel day. BWI isn't too far from Washington, D.C., so there are a lot of people who work for, contractors for the federal government who are coming in and out. So there's a lot of people. It was very busy. And so I'm surrounded by people walking by, people waiting, at the ticket counter, trying to, change seats or get on standby lists or whatever. And I was just sitting there enjoying the power of the music. And I really did feel like, it was like I cast a sail, or like I was a leaf just floating, going wherever the music taking me, helpless to the music, to wherever it was going to take me. And it was taking me to a place that was so beautiful and so profound of an experience for me. And I felt such energy from the music, and it was just a charge. And like I said, knocked me down, but at the same time, it built me up at the same time, and built me in a way that I just felt like everything was easy. That's how the music felt. There's just like this world that the music created. Everything was simple and easy. You just needed to cast your sail and you would go to the direction of the beauty. And that's how it felt. And I'm surrounded by all these people. And like I said, if you looked at me, people probably looked at me like, what the heck is this guy doing? He looks, he's in, did he take something before he got over here? Is he on drugs? Which I don't take drugs, so that clearly is not the case, with the exception of this music, which had that kind of impact. And it was beautiful. And no matter how I could have taken my headphones off, or I could have put it on the loudest speaker that anyone has ever heard, and no one would have connected with it the way that I did in that moment. Part of it is where you are in your life. Part of it is, hearing the music and the lyrics. Part of it is just your own sensibility mashing with the sensibility of the artist. But it was really, really profoundly and impactful. And like I said, there's no way for me, in that moment or any moment to say, you will connect and feel the same way about the songs that I did right then. It's just impossible. It's not the way that it works. It is a profoundly personal experience. But I think more to the point is I'm listening to that, and I'm in that place that the music was taking me. That is a place where I want a population of one. That is not a place that I want to open the doors and allow people to come in to share the experience with. That is something that is so profoundly personal and so profoundly precious that I want to build a wall around it, that I want to protect it, right? That the right way to hear music like that is through headphones that no one else can hear, that no one else can share, that can take you to that place and no one else but you, where you are more than alone with yourself in the best way possible, not loneliness alone, but in that place where you are, where you are perfectly yourself, that place that I think we strive to be and strive to become. And that music takes us there in a way that nothing else can, right? Because music is such a like we talked about last time, such a direct connection to emotion in a way that other art forms are not. That art can take us or that music can take us to a place where we can see, our best selves through the music. It's kind of a strange way to put it, to see something through music, but that's the way that I felt like it had brought me. That's that's where I felt like it had brought me to. And like I said, if I wouldn't want to share that kind of a moment with anyone, I would want to lock that down. I want to build a precious, vault around it with a key system that only I am allowed to go in and enter. And I mean, that's part of the reason why I write, because, those moments that I experience, those things, I'm not a musician by any stretch. I don't think I could write music like that. But I think, especially in Hymn for the Romanticist, that's the kind of music that I tried to, demonstrate through language, in the way that I actually, heard it in music. So I mean, that brings us to a close. I just wanted to, continue down the path of really thinking about music and the way that you experience it, and how, in this case, that even when you're at a concert, and you're in a situation where you're playing music with friends, or you're like me when I was a kid and we used to go into my parents' basement, and there's a pool table and we'd spin records and we'd play music loudly, and we all enjoyed it, and you dance, and even though you're in the same rhythm and the same beats, it's just the fundamental piece of where you're really experiencing it. Even if you're in an environment with other folks, it's really something that can't be shared. And I think that in and of itself is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little discussion and that story. If you are interested in which band that was and what album that knocked me down and built me up, I'm happy to share that, but you're going to have to do a little work. I will let you know if you ping me on any of my social media, send me a direct message, and I will happily reply to let you know which album it was. So with that, I hope everyone has a great weekend. And there's one last sip of coffee here in my espresso cup. So cheers to you all. And we will, oh, that's good. We will talk to everyone next time. Take care. Have a great weekend. Until then.